Hello everyone, welcome back to our maths lesson. So today we are going to learn a new topic which is functions. Now everyone, please take out your notebook and go to page 38. Alright, so let's start with our lesson for today. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to recognize functions and also perform calculation using function notation. So what are the steps to success for this lesson? The first one, you have to write the functions algebraically. Okay, and then second step is, once you write down the functions, you have to insert the x value for the input variable. Next, you have to perform the operation specified by the function, and lastly, always double check your work. Okay, so these 4 steps you need to remember, or you need to understand how to evaluate a function, on how to do a functions. So what is functions? Functions use inputs that follow some combination of operation to produce output. So what is it actually? So for example, we have input, and this is the combination of operation. We have multiply 2 and also adding 5, and then this is the output. So for example, we have an input value of 5. So 5 multiplied by 2, you get 10. 10 we add with 5, we have the output value of 15. So output value is actually the result once you follow, or once you perform the combination of operation. That is the output value. Okay, so let's try another example. For example, we have negative 7. So negative 7 multiply with 2, we get negative 14. We add with 5, we get negative 9. Okay, so this is the output value and this is the input value. So all of this we call that as functions. So let's say we have the same combination, but in this case we use the input value of variable x. So x multiply with 2, we get 2x. Once we add 5, we get 2x plus 5. So this is the output value. Okay, so what is function again? In general, a mapping such that every of the domain is mapped to exactly one element of range. So for example, we have y is equal to 2x plus 5. So this is an example of linear function. So that is a function. So what is a mapping? A mapping is something which maps an input value to an output value. So for example, we have this one and this is the function. So whenever we input negative 1 inside this function, the output value is always negative 1. Same goes with 0. Once we insert here, the output value will be 1. Okay, so this will be always inputs and the result is always output values. So the set of all of these possible inputs, we call that as domain. And then the set of all of these outputs, we call it range. Okay, so in this case, this is the domain and this is the range for this function. Okay, so let me introduce you with a function notation. So what is function notation? So function notation is actually similar with function. Okay, however, for function notations, we use a specific symbols. In this case, we use f of x equals to something, and then f max f maps x onto something. Okay, so for function notation, we always see these two symbols, alright? So, but it's not necessary to be an f. It can be a g of x, it can be h of x, but it's always in terms of like this. Okay, for a normal function, what we see is it's always like y is equal to 2x plus 3, or L is equal to 2x plus 3, m is equal to x plus 3. For function notation, it's always be specific in terms of these two symbols. Okay, so if a normal function is like this, for function notation is will become f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay, if you notice, these two functions is actually the same, meaning to say that y is equal to f of x. So this x value is the input value. The result, once you input the x value, will be the output value. So that is function notation, and how you evaluate it, we'll go to example 1. Okay, example 1. If h maps x onto 2x plus 1 and the domain is 1, 2, 3, and 4, find the range of the function. So how do you do this example actually? Okay, so first you have to write down the functions notation. In this case, I wrote down as h of x is equal to 2x plus 1. You can also write down as like this. Okay, so the domain or the input value should be 1, 2, 3, and 4. That will be x value. The range or the output value, that is what we have to find, and that is the h of x, which is this one. So first, in this case, I'm using a table. So you have to find the output value for each of this input value. So let's say I write down as x is equal to 1. So my output value will be 2 bracket 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. So this is my output value. Okay, you just need to simply insert the x value into this function notation. Okay, so now what I want you to do is that pause this video and try to do the rest of the input value and find the output value. Okay, alright, so I believe all of you have find or calculate the output value for this function notation. So here are the answer. Okay, if you don't get the same answer, please let me know and I will guide you. Okay, so how you write down the answer should be, the range is curly bracket 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, that is for example 1. So let's proceed to example 2. Okay, so for example 2, we have if g of x is equal to 3x minus 1, evaluate a g of 3, and b g of 0, and c g of negative 1 out of 3. Okay, so the value inside this bracket, we call that as input value. Alright, so let's do the first one first. So if the input value is 3, the output value will be 8. Okay, now pause this video and try to do try to do 2b and also 2c. Alright, so I believe all of you have done these two questions. Okay, so now these are the answer. Okay, if you cannot find the answer, please ask me. Alright, So that's it for our lesson today. Okay, thank you very much for participating my lesson, and now please proceed to do activity 1. See you next lesson, everyone. Bye.